Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is that you are listening to podcasts. My name is Sean Douglas, and I'm got a raspy voice today. I'm not sure how it's translating through. I'm kind of under the weather. My kids got me sick. January 7th, and so I sound a little under the weather because I am actually under the weather. But this is Life Transformation Radio. And I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 74 countries. So that your first time joining us or been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here, we tell stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network Tuesday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our Facebook group, Life Transformation Radio Community, and you can interact and talk with the guests and myself, the hosts, within that Facebook. I ask you subscribe and leave a rating and review wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Life Transformation Radio can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Castbox, Himalaya app, Google Play Music app, and available on Pandora. So please subscribe and rate and review and let us know how we're doing. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, and other amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today has done exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And my team is standing by to field those calls. And if you have a question, we will get you on the show. And with that, I will bring on my guest now, Christine Kloser. Christine, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I am pumped to have you on the show, not only because of what you accomplished, but you have like the best attitude out of most people that come in contact with at events and at different times that seem like you have it all together. You just have a really great attitude about everything.
Well, thank you. You know, I don't try to have a great attitude. I just try to be me. So maybe I naturally have a great attitude. Who knows?
Well, maybe, yeah. Like,
but I've been through the ringer to get here, which I'm sure we'll dig into today. But, you know, I didn't always show up how I show up now.
That's great. A lot of people, you know, when times get tough or, you know, at an event and they have a booth and there's a lot of people, they get frustrated and flustered and they go, oh my gosh, where's my pen? Oh my gosh, my pen? And they're like freaking out. You, not you. Clean, cool, calm, composed, and then got up on stage and did your thing and rocked it. And I was like, man, like the way you carry yourself just says a lot about who you are. And I just wanted to compliment you on that because it's something that I noticed.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. That means a lot coming from someone like you who interacts with so many people. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Which is why I'm uniquely qualified to compliment you. Because I see people, I'm like, this guy's losing it. This guy's losing it. You know? And they wear their frustration. Like you can see, like that guy's really in a good place. Like maybe I'll come back. You know.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was very welcoming. You were very welcoming and very approachable. So happy to have you on the show. We're gonna talk about so many things. It's amazing. But I titled the episode Write Your Transformational Book with author, coach, publisher, Christine Kloser. She trains entrepreneurs and leaders to write their transformational books. She is a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author, coach, and publisher. Since 2004, she's helped nearly 80,000 aspiring authors in 127 countries. Many clients have become bestsellers, while others have signed publishing deals, speak on stages worldwide, and appear in major media outlets like CBS, CNN, ABC, NBC, the New York Times, and TEDx. What's more important is who they become through Christine's life-changing process. She delivers much more than a published book. She helps aspiring authors fully embody their true, authentic self and bring their brilliance to the world. You can learn more about her at Christine Kloser, Kloser, ChristineKloser.com. She has a free transformational Quadrant ebook right there. And get your book published with their boutique publishing services. The link is right there in the show notes. Connect with her and let her know that you heard her episode of Life Transformation Radio. Christine, the first question I have to ask is why? Why do you do what you do?
It's such a good question, Sean. And to be honest with you, for a number of years, I'm talking like doing this work for probably a decade with authors, because as you mentioned, I started working with authors in 2004 when the first person I ever published was my husband. He set out to go write this book. And then, I was like, well, now that I know everything I need to know, because I told him I'd help him publish it, which I knew nothing about at the time. I've been in this industry for a long time, longer than most people today, I think. And it took me until about, I would say maybe just 5 years ago till it really clicked that I was one of those kids who grew up in a household where it was, I just knew it was better to be seen and not heard. I swallowed my words for years. I never felt safe in my own home to really share anything, to contribute my voice, to contribute my opinion, to, speak my truth or talk about my ideas or, God forbid, my feelings. It just did not exist. Not that my parents were good parents and didn't love me deeply. They just did not know how to create that container for someone to feel seen and to feel heard and to feel, valued for who they are. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had that experience growing up. But it was years into working with authors that it just dawned on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what I've been doing all this time is helping people find their voice and liberate their voice and share their message and feel heard and be seen and be who they authentically are. So I was already doing in my work like the very thing that I felt so much was missing in my own life, growing up and then beyond that, because I just didn't know that, you could feel seen and be heard, and that my voice mattered. It took me years. Now I can't shut up, but that's kind of the why. But it was working unconsciously until I had a conscious awareness, like, man, this is what I do. I free people through the process of writing a transformational book to really become a fuller embodiment of who they were born to be. And I'm really, I'm not, and I don't want to be braggadocious, but from what my clients tell me, like, I'm really good, and there's no one else doing it quite like I do it with my clients.
I love it.
It's about a lot more than just a book, that's for sure.
Right. Yep. I 100% agree. I wrote my first book in 2016. It was a painstaking process. I cried a few times because I was like, this is so stupid. Why do people write books? And then like 2 days later, I'm like, all right, let's get it down, But it's like, I don't know, because it's a labor of love. But my book, which is called Decisions, The Power to Overcome self-defeating behavior. Most people's inability to make a decision is still a self-defeating behavior. They're like, well, if I just don't make a decision, then my life will be fine and nothing bad will happen. Well, your inability to make a decision still is self-defeating behavior, which most people don't even realize that they're holding themselves back by not even making a decision. So that's why I wrote the book, because there's a lot of self-defeating behaviors. But I used myself, life, my suicide moment, everything as a case study, the resilience program that I was teaching. And my pastor ended up using it at church. And so everything that's in that book was like, I just know how transformational a book can be. That was on my own. I can't even imagine what it would look like working with a professional who can bring even more out than even I could imagine. If I worked with you on that book, I'm sure it would be completely different. The whole process, I mean, everything would have been amazing. So that's why I say you have to work with somebody on this type of project, because I did it on my own and it sucks.
Yeah, it can be really hard for people on their own. And sadly, what I'm hearing more and more about, Sean, lately is people who hire someone to help them and end up worse off than if they had done it on their own. I mean, like 2019 for me was a year of hearing one horror story after another. We're talking 50 people paying, $15,000, upwards of $50,000 for help with their books, and then literally, I spoke with someone just last week, right before the New Year, so maybe 2 weeks ago. It took her a year to recover from the trauma of the work and what she was subject to from that book coach, and because the book coach would not let her write the book that she felt she was born to write.
Right.
So it's insane. So yeah, you could do it on your own, which is better than working with someone who's going to point you in the wrong direction. But working with someone who's going to help you really excavate the true authentic message and excavate yourself and get those words on the paper in the process is profoundly powerful and life-changing.
I love it. Something I've taken on a lot. I did it a couple times in 2018. Took it on a lot in 2019. Was only the book marketing. Like, you bring me a book and I will market the crap out of it for you. And all 8 of the people that I worked with in 2019 all went to best. I mean, it's an Amazon bestseller, which, I mean, it means something, but it doesn't. Like, it's so easy to make Amazon bestseller list to a point. But you do like everything, like USA Today. They've got publishing deals. They're on TEDx. I mean, way more than I could ever do. So I am thinking about writing a book this year, and I haven't told anybody about it until now because I was saving it for this episode. But I do want to write another book and would want to work with somebody because I know how much it sucks doing it on my own.
Well, then we should talk offline about that because I need to help a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Because I got the marketing down.
Thanks for sharing that news here. That's pretty awesome.
So the title of my book is going to be called Positioning is Everything, and I want to make it a Jack Canfield type installment, like Hal Elrod. My buddy Hal Elrod has the Miracle Morning. It's like Miracle Morning, everything, right? That's what I do. But here's my hook. Positioning is everything in sex. Positioning is everything in business. Positioning is everything on the field, like for like team building or team performance or like athletes or something. Positioning is everything. So I can see if one book is successful where I can use positioning in other aspects of life. Positioning is everything in leadership, and have like a series of books come out like that. One's successful and I do a second one and that becomes successful, then I'm going to go full blown on this idea. But this is my 2020 kind of BHAG, is to write this book.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I'm just smiling ear to ear thinking about the possibilities for you. Very exciting.
Right. So we will definitely talk. So I love your why. I love everything about what you're doing. So the whole premise of the show is talking about our transformational moment. And you said before you didn't always carry yourself that way. So tell the listeners the moment that happened. What is Christine's transformational moment in life that puts you on the path to what you're doing?
It was a series of moments. I guess you could call it a
Mm-hmm.
perfect storm of breakdown. I wrote a book back in 2007, came out in 2008, called The Freedom Formula: How to Put Soul in Your Business and Money in Your Bank. And it
Oh,
was the right book, but at the wrong time.
okay.
And it was the book that I so desperately needed to read. And it is a really good book. But I was not qualified to write it. Like, I didn't have the
Interesting.
on the ground experience. Like, I knew what I knew from a place of just knowing. I am extremely intuitive. All the information in that book is absolutely accurate, but I didn't know it through my own physical experience in my human body on this planet. I knew it from a different place. And I built a business around that book, a beautiful business. I did an event on that book, and within 3 days, I sold $500,000 worth of coaching to a room full of like 100 people. So it was,
Awesome.
considered a great success. And I
Sure.
say success in quotes because it's all relative.
Yeah.
But the business that I built around that book was not the right business for me. All right, the subtitle is How to Put Soul
Hmm.
in Your Business and Money in Your Bank. And I wanted to help people excavate and do the soul part. And the people who hire, who join my programs and work with me at very high level coaching programs and everything, they just wanted the money in the bank part. Like, it was just such a mismatch.
Uh,
And I myself at the time was on the brink of bankruptcy when I launched this book. Like, I was teetering, every month, am I going to make it or am I not going to make it? So this event happened, very successful. And then the economic crisis and the recession happened,
oh yeah.
and clients who were paying on credit cards could no longer pay. A couple of my clients at a very high level, they were just like, all of a sudden they did not want to do the work that they were supposed to be doing in the program, and they blamed me, and
Mm.
I just gave them money back to get rid of them. And I ended up, being kind of arm wrestled by my event producer, like the gal who, my event manager, I guess, to sign the contract for the event coming up the following year. Let's do this again. Like, no one sells $500,000 from their first event, Christine. Like, you understand that? You're like, we got to do it again. Like, this is amazing. And I basically said I can't do it again, knowing full well that not doing it again would mean kind of shutting down the business,
Mm-hmm.
probably losing everything. And that's
Mm.
exactly what happened. I did not sign the
Yep.
agreement, shut down the business, ended up by 2011 filing for bankruptcy, losing my home to foreclosure, and spending a heck of a lot of time on my knees, raging, crying, begging, praying, negotiating, demanding, bargaining, for how in the world I was going to ever be able to stand again, ever to be able to serve again, ever to be respected again by people in my industry. Because, in my mind, I was the ultimate failure. But
Wow. Even though
yeah,
you got $500,000 in sales.
yeah. Well, when you have $500,000 of sales and you refund like 200,000, and you have another, 150,000 of people who lost their credit lines when they were like, we're cutting everyone's credit to exactly what
Yep.
they already had, like then they couldn't pay me.
Right.
And just to produce that event cost $150,000.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
because
insane.
I paid speakers like Marianne Williamson and Neil Donald
Oh,
Walsh and
sure.
James Twyman
Oh
to come
yeah.
speak at the event.
Of
I had
course.
full production screens, the whole, because
Oh
that's what I
yeah.
thought I was supposed to do. Because I
Work.
wasn't then. Well, let's add this one more piece. I wasn't then who I am now, and I was looking outwardly for what success looked like, and I thought it
Mm.
looked like what it looked like for everybody else. But when I
Mm.
did that for me, it was both devastation, but it was also liberation, because you really get to figure out who you are and find your inner strength when you are stripped of everything.
There's
Um,
so many stories about, oh, the 2008 killed me. 2008, 2009 was
yeah,
the worst year of life. It's like everybody's like moment. And you know what I love about that moment is everybody said, I can't go back there because now I'm smarter and I have better systems. And so it wasn't just, yeah, that sucks. Don't want to do that again. But I'm just going to do what I'm doing. People learned. People got better. It was that moment that people said, enough is enough, never doing this again, and actually did something about it.
Yeah. And that was me. That's how I ended up, training those 80,000 authors, because when I was on my knees begging, like, I'm a sole income earner for my family. My husband was a stay-at-home dad. Like, we didn't have a savings. I'm not a trust fund baby. We had no backup. I dumped I invested. I shouldn't say dumped. I invested every penny of my personal money, every nook, cranny, and corner I could find it. I put it into that business, keeping it alive, paying my team. So when I went belly up, like I was really left with nothing. So I had to create something, where we were going to be moving into, I don't know, someone's spare bedroom, which I did not want to do for my family. I had a young, my daughter was like, I guess 6 at the time we lost our house. Like, I did not want that for her. So when I, begged, the only thing I was shown to do was to do this summit, and I had done summits in previous iterations of my business called the Transformational Author Experience. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, universe, because I wanted to do that last year, but every colleague and friend that I knew that had very successful businesses said that it was the worst name they'd ever heard. There were 2 people who didn't completely diss it, but everyone else was like, you should not ever do anything with that name. It's not going to fly. There's no value. Like, people don't even know what that is. So when I'm at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, Sean, that's the only thing that's coming is you have to do this. So in 60 days, I said yes, and literally 60 to 90 days later, I had 10,000 people in my first transformational author experience training. And for those who took the next level, it ended up being over 6 figures of income, and I got to move my family into another rental instead of someone's spare bedroom, and started my life over in 2011.
So wait. You had 10,000 people in a course?
Yeah, it was a free training, a summit, where I went out and asked, like you've experienced me. Like, I'm the kind of person, I could come back to you 10 years later and you're going to have a very favorable experience. It's just my nature.
Was it an online virtual summit that you did?
Yep. Yeah, an online virtual summit, but I didn't like calling it a summit because it was really a lot more than a summit.
100%.
But it was that. But I had speakers like, Robert Allen and John Assaraf and Michael Gerber, and I just went out to my community. I leveraged, every relationship I had, and I got 10,000 people in the program.
That is holy smokes! And
Enough
leverage
to pay
email
that
lists,
it was 6 figures.
right?
Yep.
Like leverage their email list and all that. Like, that's incredible. See, that's what most people think. Like, well, I need to do an event and I need to do this. Now I'm going to be rich and but there's a lot of work that goes behind.
Oh my God.
Yes. It's not just set up a webinar. It's not. Most people think that businesses Field of Dreams. It's just not. You don't build it and they don't. You're not going to build it and they'll just come. I've been speaking professionally since 2016. Well, I should say getting paid since 2016. I was speaking for free in 2015 and 2014, and 2015. And it took me 3 years to kind of build up that kind of experience. What I noticed is that less people wanted to hire me when I started charging. So I got free stuff. I'm like, I'm everywhere. Like, I'm getting booked everywhere. Like, I should probably just charge, and then crickets. So it's a funny thing that happens, and it's a lot of work. Tons. Yes.
And especially back then, when I was literally living on some borrowed money that my father had loaned me, I could only afford a $3 an hour tech team in India. So I would have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get them when they're online, to just make the pages work and link things with the shopping cart and, do what you needed to do. There's more that goes into a summit than anyone can ever imagine if they've not done one themselves.
Right.
And, there I was literally like 3:00 in the morning, sometimes in tears because I was so exhausted. But, it is hard work, this entrepreneurial path. But I would not give it up, not even the bankruptcy, foreclosure, the failures, the betrayals. Like, I wouldn't give it up for anything. It's so much a part of who I am and what I'm here to do and how I'm meant to serve and impact people's lives through this thing called, writing a transformational book.
There you go. I absolutely love it. So what is it that you do with the people that want to write the book? I haven't heard of book coaching other than, no, you should write it this way, and no, you should format it this way, and I'll edit it, and, like that stuff. But you do something special with the people that you work with. It's just book writing. Talk about that and how you're elevating the world around you.
I think what's really different about what I do is that I don't approach the book first. I really encourage the author, whether they're in one of my online programs or they're, coaching with me or they're sitting on my couch like I had a client last week for a 3-hour, half-day VIP session. Like, I dig so much into the author, who they are, what's important to them, what they want to create, why they're writing this book, who that book is for, the impact that they want to have, what the legacy they want to leave, the breakthroughs, the healing that might be in store for them as they actually bring this book to life. So I deep dive into who that person is, because then and only then can you really write the right book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, like you talked about, we have a free book for you all at transformationquadrant.com. For my book called The Transformation Quadrant, how to blueprint your book in 15 minutes or less. And it's, it's 4 different quadrants, but one of them, which people don't really think about in the book writing process, they think about their readers, they think about their business, they think about the impact they want to have in the world, but they kind of leave out the most foundational piece of the process, which is them as the author. Because writing a book can actually bring you whatever transformation it is that you desire if you approach it that way. So that's where I start, and then it lays the foundation for like everything under the sun to happen. Like, I rarely even coach my clients specifically on their book. I'm coaching them on themselves. I'm coaching them on having the confidence to speak their own truth, to shine their own light, to get the to get the clarity they need and make the powerful decisions to move them forward. And when that happens, like I had a client last month at a writing retreat, she came in completely blocked. Like, everything I write sucks. I'm never going to be able to do this. No one's ever going to want to read it. Maybe I should just throw in the towel. And I'm like, let's just sit and talk. I'll be you're my first coaching person at the retreat this morning. So we 3 days later, she had over 13,000 words written, and she's like fired up about this book.
Oh my gosh. So you just talked to her and worked through a process?
Figured out what was going on. My intuition is very keen and very finely tuned, and it knows exactly how to go find the opening. It hears the words in between the words that they're saying. That's where the key to their freedom really lies in this process. So, I listen for that. And I trust where I'm guided to go with them. And, I think I could say pretty much 100% of the time, or maybe 99.9% of the time, it's exactly what they needed to get the clarity, the breakthrough, and then go right.
I love it.
It's pretty
Absolutely
fun.
love it.
I'm so blessed to do what I do.
And you seem so energized about it. And that's what I love the most, is you're doing something that you're absolutely great at, but you love doing it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I love my clients. I love my clients. I was just with a bunch of them today on a virtual writing retreat. We, sit for 3 hours together all over the, country and all over the world, and they work on their books in this space that I hold for them. And it's like when they come back at the end, like, well, I wrote 1,500 words, or I got this done, or I got this website, copy done for my book launch page, or whatever it is. It's like, it feels like, it really does feel like it's my own win because I love them so much and I'm so proud of them. And it's such a joy to watch them just bloom. It's,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they do that? How would they work with you? Do you go to your website? Do you have like a consultation with them? How does that work?
Well, there's a number of different ways, and unfortunately, my website is like a not finished work of art. But the best thing really
is anybody?
Yeah, right. The best
mine
thing
is
really
mine is a hot bag of trash.
Yeah. Go to transformationquadrant.com, grab a copy of that book. It's a short read. I mean, it's called a book because it's got enough pages to be a book, but it doesn't have enough pages for the spine of that book to actually, in the print version that I sell on Amazon, have the title on the spine. Like, it's a little book, but it's powerful. So when you get that and you start digging into this quadrant for yourself, at the back of that book, there are some resources. There's a place to go and learn more about, getting on my podcast or I have a accelerator program that we're accepting applications to right now. If you're interested in that, just send an email to support@christinekloser.com and just put accelerator interest, from the podcast or something.
Sure.
And you can reach out that way. But getting the book is going to be the very best thing that you can do because you get a ton of value out of the book. There's a workbook you can download that goes along with it, and it rocks people's world. You can go to Amazon and look at, most of the reviews are favorable. There's like one woman had a little, bug in her, what.
Yep.
But overall, like, people love this book because it changes how you think about writing your book.
So I had a review on my book. I've had, 14 or 16 reviews. Again, I'm like going in cold. No idea what I'm doing. I'm researching, Google how to become an author, like, normal like newbie stuff, right? But I launched a book, but the book still, I was on a podcast last year and he says that I'm the #1 downloaded show of his in 40 or 50 episodes. And that, I get a bunch of book sales from that. Like I'll see like, oh, somebody ordered a book. Oh, somebody else ordered a book. And, hey, I got a bunch of feedback. So I was like, oh, cool. So they like my story. They like the book, all that. But the book doesn't normally like sell like all day, every day. Like I'm not like, millions of copies sold like all over the world. And I don't think most books do. However, I I just think that if you're writing a book to be famous, I think you're just doing it for the wrong reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's just my opinion. And not everybody's going to be Jack Canfield. Not everybody's going to be, JK Rowling. Not like, it's just, I don't think that you write a book for selfish reasons because then it's not going to happen for you. But if you're willing to listen and you're willing to change lives, then yes, the book will take you amazing places.
Absolutely. It's interesting you talk about, not everyone can be a Jack Canfield, not everyone can be a JK Rowling, not everyone can be a, fill in the blank, Brene Brown, whoever it is. But I just, as you were talking, I thought, but everyone could be like a Dr. Nikki Elliott. Dr. Nikki's one of my clients, and she had this book called The Intuitive Mother that she had written, but it sat in her hard drive for 3 years gathering cyber dust. She just didn't know that she could really bring it all the way to fruition. And I met her at a conference out in California, and I fell in love with her. She's super easy to love. She's an amazing woman. We've now published 2 of her books, but I was like, I can help you do this. So I helped her do it. And like a week after the book released, she hasn't sold thousands of copies, but she knows she has saved lives because she shared an email with me that she received from a mother who was dealing with postpartum depression and was seriously considering taking herself out after she had just given birth to, her child. And Dr. Nikki's book literally saved her life. So you might not be Jack Canfield, but you could be a Dr. Nikki. And chances are, if you write that book you're really meant to write in one way, shape, or form, it will save someone's life, their health, their business, their sanity, their marriage, their life. So you can't do it because you want to be famous. You got to do it because you want to impact people. I couldn't agree more, Sean.
Yep, absolutely. One aspect that I want to kind of dive into just a little bit is part of the reason of getting a book, along with not being famous, is most people say that part of being an authority is the first part of the word is author. So when you write a book, you become the authority. That's number one. I had a conversation with somebody on a Facebook Live, and they're like, I cannot believe you are this successful and you haven't read a book at all in 2019. I didn't. I read books. I just listened to podcasts, and then I listened to whatever the podcast said to do, and then I became successful. So you have to understand the people who are listening and people who are wanting to work with Christine, that you got to be dead set and serious on this, because a lot of the attention is coming off of books and going on to podcasts. However, audio books are becoming real popular as well. And like I said, if you're going to do this for the right reason, this is it's an undertaking that really should be taken serious. And then the marketing point has to be on point. And listening to a coach, like I would never ever now, 16, yeah, sure, 2016, do it. Now I would never advise anybody to write a book by themselves, because it just isn't going to be. It's just not worth it.
They never do what that author hopes that book would do, because it's not their best work. It might not even be the right, positioning, messaging.
Yep.
I've seen so many people who write books. I mean, I had someone once, she came to me after the fact. She had written this 125,000 word manuscript, and this was a monstrous book.
Smokes.
And, she was a friend, so I don't think she thought of me as someone, to work with professionally. But we were talking one day, and I'm like, so tell me, this book that it's published, I'm like, what's it about? She had written 125,000 words, and she could not succinctly tell me what her book was about. And I thought, well, if you can't tell me succinctly what it's about, what is in those 125,000 words? Your readers are going to just get lost. They're not going to make it through. If you're not clear, they're not going to be clear for sure. So yeah, it's not an endeavor to take on alone, I don't think.
Right, because you're competing now with podcasts. You're competing now, with the audiobooks. You're competing now with so much technology, which before you were not competing with. You were competing as much for people's attention as you were before. Like, my kids haven't been to the library in quite a while. Except for the one on the Air Force Base, but it's not like we take trips to the library like we did when I was a kid, like when you was a kid, like when my mom was a kid.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
No. It's sad. It's sad, which means that it's even more important for you to make sure that you're writing the best book you can for the right audience, the right message, because if they are going to invest their valuable time into reading your book, you owe them. They deserve the best you've got. And I personally, I'll just say it right now, I might piss some people off, but I am so sick and tired of all this push, become a bestseller in a weekend, write it in a weekend,
Oh my
right?
God.
I even saw one, become a best-selling author, in 24 hours without even having to write a single word. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, yes, makes me sick just thinking about it.
Oh
because,
my gosh.
if you want a really, I don't even eat meat, but I'm going to use a meat analogy here. If you want a really delicious, juicy burger, you're going to cook that thing on a grill and you're going to take your time. You would never, in a million years take that hunk of ground beef and throw it in the microwave and call it a burger, right? Like that's disgusting.
Right.
And nowadays there is like this just rampant messaging that you should microwave your book and, just throw together some blogs or fill out this template, answer a few questions, and there's your book. And it's like, yeah, but it's a crap book. And like, if you're going to do that, don't bother.
I think that's atrocious. That doesn't even sound appealing. Right?
No.
On a weekend, like how? Like I don't.
No.
Like people pride themselves on that. I'm like, dude, it's got to take longer than that. Like you can't. I mean, you could write the book, but then it's going to take you, I don't know, a month or two to market it, at least. Like it's going to take you 3 months. Like, no way. I don't know.
And those are the books you read where it's like there's, they didn't even check it. They barely spell checked it for grammar and punctuation. And
yeah.
It's just like it's disrespectful to the readers. So like I'm completely on the other end of the spectrum. Like respect yourself, respect your readers, respect the sacred ancient art of written word. I mean, before there was paper, people were scratching markings into cave dwellings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a sacred vehicle of communicating. And I think if you disrespect it, like it disrespects you, and the book goes nowhere, or it even harms your reputation if you don't do it well and do it right.
Oh, so, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So let's do this. We got about 3 minutes to go. In the last 3 minutes, I always asked the guest, what is the takeaway? If nobody listens to you or what I say in this whole episode, but remembers one thing, what is it? What is one takeaway from the show?
Your authentic voice makes a difference. So do what it takes to excavate it for yourself, to really know your truth, so you can stand as strongly as I do. That, Sean would say what he said at the beginning of this show. He wouldn't say that if I didn't do that work to really uncover like my authentic truth and who I am. And you do that and you write a book from that place, like you watch how much it transforms you, transforms your readers, transforms your business, transforms the world.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. Again, if somebody wants to work with you, if they're like, I have a book, but I just don't know what to do, what are the next steps? I don't know what to do with my life.
Grab the free book we have, but also go check out getyourbookdone.com. That is my award-winning program. I've been teaching authors since 2007. It's got a 12-year track record of success. And
awesome.
getyourbookdone.com. It's easy domain to remember. So just check that out and email us at support@KristineKloser if you have any questions. If you feel like you need to hop on a call with me. I don't do that for everyone, but I have a feeling this audience, your audience, would be some really awesome people to work with. So just email support@KristineKloser.com and we'll work it out. We'll help you get your book done, and a book that you love and that your readers will love too.
Love it. Awesome. With that, I want to thank you for your time. This has been absolutely incredible. I'm excited. Just last week, I was like, I'm going to write my next book. I know exactly what it's going to be because I've been talking a lot about positioning, and most people aren't positioned correctly. The book isn't positioned correctly. The podcast isn't positioned correctly. I've been coaching more people on positioning itself than I actually have on what it takes to build a business. It's been the positioning part, and I'm like, I have to write about this. So you and I will talk, and
excellent.
And it's going to be awesome.
It sure will. It sure will. Thank you so much for inviting me on today, and thank you all for listening and for even having this desire to want to write a book, because you probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't in there somewhere. So we need your messages out in the world.
Absolutely. Transformational Radio listeners, amazing guest impacting the world around her. If anything resonated with the conversation today with Kristine Kloser, author, coach, publisher, please connect with her. Go to KristineKloser.com. Download the free Transformation Quadrant ebook, and you can get your book published with their boutique publishing services. It's right there in the show notes. Connect with her on Facebook. Connect with her on LinkedIn. Send her a message and let her know that she heard her episode of Life Transformation Radio. And with that, I close the show by saying, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great